Alright, so this might be a hot take on the Game Awards 2022, but I honestly thought it was the best year since 2018, and I really thought it was really good. But in this video, I'm just basically going to discuss what I think was good about the Game Awards, what I think was bad about the Game Awards, and just kind of some extras. I thought there was some kind of weird moments in the Game Awards, but ultimately I thought it was a really good show. But stick around for why I thought it was really good, stick around for why I thought it was kind of interesting, but either way, let's go. So let's start off with the good. I really think this year did a good job of balancing celebrating the past year in games for 2022 and balancing some good future anticipation of video games for 2023. I really was happy that God of War and Elden Ring really won big this year. It was really fitting that God of War won so many awards this year and Elden Ring won Game of the Year. I was a little disappointed that Horizon Forbidden West didn't really win anything, I don't think. If you want to check out my full thoughts on Horizon Forbidden West, you can check out this video right up here. It's a little bit of a longer review, and it was one of my first videos that I've done, so it might not be the best quality of video, but check it out if you're interested. The video is about 25 minutes long. I was starting to think throughout the show, with God of War winning so many awards, that Elden Ring was gonna get snubbed for some reason. I was like, it's really not gonna be good if Elden Ring doesn't win Game of the Year. It's kind of the clear-cut winner here. But all in all, I'm really happy with the winners, mostly. Looking ahead to 2023, one thing is really clear is that we're gonna need to buy a PS5 in 2023 if we haven't already. I put out a video that said 5 reasons for me not investing in a PS5 just yet, and one of those reasons was because a lot of major releases from 2020 until now have been going on PS4, so there's a little bit less of a reason to invest in a PS5 until now. If you watched all the previews of the upcoming games, most of the major ones that are coming up, like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, aren't coming out on PS4. I think that's reason enough for me to save for a PS5 now. I mean, I obviously know that PS5 is a much better system than the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. It's just coming up with reasons to get a PS5 have been kind of slim up until now. I definitely in 2023, as one of my New Year's resolutions, first world, is to get a PS5. So there you have it. One thing I am really glad the Game Awards did this year was to skip over the stupid esports stuff. Like, who cares about that? I mean, like, most gamers, maybe I've definitely seen some Evo stuff here and there, like the Super Smash Bros. Stuff is really cool to watch, but outside of that, like, I don't think a majority of gamers really care about these things. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I'm putting it out there. At least I don't care about the esports stuff. So I'm just glad those were kind of just rapid fire awards that went out pre-game. And this brings us to what I didn't really care about in the show. Hollywood actors. There are some that definitely belonged in the show, like Keegan-Michael Key and Christopher Judge. Obviously, those guys had roles in other Hollywood things before coming over to video games. But what is Al Pacino doing here? Like, he admittedly does not play video games. Why was he brought in to present this award? It could have been presented by someone who has won in previous years. What does Al Pacino have to do with video games? He doesn't even care about video games. You could see in his presentation that he plays a little bit of games, but he mostly plays with his grandchildren. So I don't understand why Al Pacino, why James Bond, why Star Wars wrecker Rian Johnson had to be there. I mean, they kind of just didn't really fit. So I would suggest to you, Jeff Keighley, if you're watching this, that if you want to blend Hollywood and video games, I'm fine with that. I think there's major games out there with pretty high profile actors in them that do really well and stuff, so that's cool. But if they're gonna present on stage like this, I think they should have a part in a role in a video game. Like I said, Keegan-Michael Key, Michael Madsen, Christopher Judge, they all had roles in upcoming video games. I think actually what another thing was funny about the Game Awards this year was Christopher Judge. Props to you, guy. Like, I'm glad you won, Best Actor in a video game. I have yet to play God of War at this point. I have it. I just haven't opened it yet. Oddly enough, I was playing Sonic so I could beat that first, because I know once I open God of War, it's like opening Pandora's box. Like, I'm not gonna do anything else, just like how I approached Horizon Forbidden West. I was talking with my friend as he was going on, and I just could not believe how long the speech was and stuff. And I was like, good for you with this moment and stuff. I mean, that's one of the benefits of broadcasting on YouTube, is you don't have the time crunch of the nightly news coming at 11 p.m. I do think that maybe it would be nice if you considered people's time just a little bit, but again, good for you, Christopher Judge. Glad you won. The final thing is I'm a little bit disappointed by the lack of Sonic Frontiers. I know Sonic has not had a great track record with video games these days, but let's acknowledge that Sonic Frontiers was a really good game. I mean, it didn't score super well on Metacritic. I think it scored about a 76. Personally, as I'm calling myself a Sonic fan, even though I haven't delved really into Sonic outside of Sonic Mania for quite some time, but I really thought Sonic deserved some recognition, maybe even in the music department at least. I mean, the music for this game was great. Next, I just want to jump through some of the games I thought were really cool that they announced. So first off, Castlevania and Dead Cells merge was really cool. Like, who'd have thunk that Castlevania would be merging with Dead Cells? That was a really cool reveal. I thought that was a really great start to the show. There were a lot of PC ports that are coming from PlayStation to PC, so good for you PC owners who are able to indulge in Sony exclusives. That was really good. So one game I thought was really cool that unfortunately is an Xbox exclusive. It is replaced. It looks like it's a combination of Super Nintendo's version of Cyberpunk, maybe. I don't actually own an Xbox yet. I do plan on eventually investing in one. I just need to get a PS5 first, because I'm really deep in that ecosystem. But who knows? Maybe, I mean, with the relationship that Xbox has with Nintendo, maybe it'll come to Switch, and that would be a dream come true. Next up is Hades 2. Hades 2, I mean, if you haven't played the first game, I haven't, but I've heard very good reviews on this. I was thinking that this game was originally going to be Hades DLC. Turns out it's a full sequel, so Supergiant Games does a really good job. Bastion was really great. I'm playing a couple other of their games. I mean, you can get them on sale for $2 to $3 a piece, and they're really good. Bayonetta Origins was kind of a weird one. I'm looking at this game, and I'm like, I like the art style, but I'm just not really exactly into Bayonetta, like the story at all, so it just never appealed to me. So if I was in Bayonetta, I think the story would appeal to me more. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, of course, that game looks really awesome. Need no other say. I'm going to invest on this. Hopefully, if I have a PS5 on day one. This was one of the major releases that isn't coming to PlayStation 4, so this is kind of one of those driving factors driving me to buy a PlayStation 5. Earthblade is coming in 2024. I thought this was a little bit early to announce this. I mean, it looks cool enough, but it's 2 years away from right now, or a year and a half, something like that. So Forspoken has a demo. It looks pretty cool to me. I think this looks interesting to say the least. Death Stranding 2 was announced. Immortals was a weird game because it didn't really have a whole lot of stuff to show. So it was described as a magic shooter, and then that's pretty much it. Blue Protocol looks okay. Transformers looks pretty cool. They showed a little bit of the Mario movie. I think the game that I laughed at the most, I should say laughed with the most, was a new Crime Boss game, Crime Boss Rockay City. It looks like a combination of a first-person shooter with Grand Theft Auto. And this was odd. I just said how Hollywood is kind of like weird, it's kind of like a weird mix with this. So the selling power of this game is the star-studded cast. You got Michael Madsen, you got Kim Basinger, you've got Danny Trejo. I mean, like those are well-established actors, and a couple of those people are, and Danny Glover. These people are famous for their crime roles in the 1980s, so that's kind of a selling point in and of itself. And then they announced Vanilla Ice and Chuck Norris, and then I was like, wow, that is like hilarious. Who knows how well this game is gonna play. Maybe the story of this game is gonna be really good, so that might alone be good enough to buy the game. A couple of the things is Idris Elba joins Cyberpunk. That was a really cool announcement. And Final Fantasy 16. I am not a Final Fantasy person, but I will be excited for the people who are excited about Final Fantasy 16. So this looks could this be the first M-rated Final Fantasy? It looks very dark, and it looks very interesting, actually, from someone who's not really into Final Fantasy. I own Final Fantasy VII Remake because it was out on PlayStation Plus, so if it wasn't, I probably wouldn't own it. A couple of the things that were odd about this year that actually kind of made the show good, and they weren't really even planned, I guess. So when they were doing the final music for the Game of the Year, they kept on cutting to this guy who was like really intense about playing the flute, and I was like, yeah, man, I envy your passion about this. This is like, I think if I were playing up there and I were playing on drums or something, I would be just as excited about this. So good for you, flute guy. That was really cool. And of course we have the Bill Gates guy. This guy will forever be memed, and I think this guy is actually the video game equivalent to the slap that happened between Will Smith and Chris Rock at the Oscars. So yeah, stuff like this kind of just made the show really entertaining to watch. I honestly think that the Game Awards themselves are best enjoyed when you've got kind of a little bit of a party going on. The Spawn cast looked like they were really enjoying themselves, so that looked pretty cool. I had a friend over who actually used to live here with me before I got married, and we were just having a really good time, just talking during the speeches and anticipating, like, okay, is this game gonna win? Is this game gonna win? And we were having a lot of fun with it and just laughing about the Crime Boss game. I really think this Game Awards was the best one we've had since 2017 and 2018. I thought those were really good. If you were a Sony fan, this was definitely a year for you. Microsoft and Nintendo were not big presences in here. I mean, yeah, they won a couple awards here with Bayonetta, and I mean, Phil Spencer was just kind of sitting there and stuff, so I don't know. Yeah, if you're an Xbox guy, then you might not have enjoyed this one. I put a poll up last night. Do Hollywood actors in leading roles in video games sell you on the games? 80% said no. 20% said depends. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. I mean, I definitely don't want to say that Hollywood actors don't belong in video games or anything like that. I do think it's nice when you got people like Troy Baker and Nolan North who have established themselves through roles in video games, and I'm kind of like more apt to get a game if I know one of those two are in it. The guy who played Arthur Morgan on Red Dead Redemption 2 or Dutch, those guys, I mean, I don't think have had too many roles in video games, but they knocked it out of the park in Red Dead Redemption. So I think people like that are more apt to sell me on video games personally, but let me know in the comments to continue the conversation below if you like actors in video games. What did you think of the video games this year? Were they hot garbage, or did you enjoy the Video Game Awards? Regardless, everyone's gonna watch, and even if you don't end up watching, you're gonna watch replays of this game of this night anyway, so you might as well watch. I think. Regardless, I have been watching the Game Awards since back in probably 2005 when Samuel L. Jackson used to host back when it was on Spike TV. Do you like the old style Video Game Awards back when it was more silly, or do you like the new ones where they're trying to kind of copy the Oscars a little bit. Let me know in the comments below. And if I made you laugh at any point in this video, or if I entertained you, consider subscribing and being a busy gamer like the rest of us. And until next time, go be with your families, go enjoy winter break, and score touchdowns before you play Call of Duty. I will see you on the next one.